Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming to this session. I always say cybersecurity, it's a wonderful topic full of doom and gloom. And so my job today is to ensure that you leave sufficiently terrified, because it is terrifying stuff, but we'll try to make it sufficiently terrifyingly fun at the same time. So for those of you who don't know me, that's me, the A, B, I, and the D, talking about cybersecurity, as usual. I'm Abid Patel, I'm the IT director at Newham Community Learning, which is a multi-academy trust of 6 schools in East London. Been doing IT directory stuff for like 9 years now, but all of the digital transformation and that kind of fun and games. If you want to connect with me, then that's my Twitter over there, or go to abidpatel.com. A copy of these slides are on there in the resources folder as well. So there's lots and lots of text and stuff on there. You don't need to read everything. You can follow it all on the slides. But yeah, that's feel free to get in touch and connect. It's always great to meet lots more people. A mini celebration for me to start off with. We just became Cyber Essentials certified at one of my primaries. Hey! And it's been a long journey getting there. It has been a journey of a whole load of digital transformation and change management. And we all know change is the easiest thing in the world to do, isn't it? And so it's possible. It's challenging in schools, but it'd be great to see more and more schools get to this stage. And we're in a really good time where EdTech is evolving in so many different ways, and the more we start to embrace that involvement, the more we can all hope to get towards Cyber Essentials certification. So I wanted to start off with this slide. So if you've seen the presentation by the NCSC, you'll be familiar with this slide, but this basically is a set of statistics that they took back in 2019. And when they surveyed schools, and I say 2019, and so what was special about 2019? It was pre-pandemic. EdTech really took off during the pandemic and post-pandemic, but you can see those numbers look very high. And that's pre-pandemic. Just imagine, with the amount of EdTech that is going on in schools right now, how high those numbers might be even now. And that is really scary. 83% of schools had a cyber attack 2019. 97% of schools said that they would losing access would have considerable impact on the organizations. One of the biggest challenges I have in everyday life is getting people to understand how much digital is ingrained in our lives. I always say, if you want to know how much digital is ingrained in your lives, what's the first thing you touch in the morning? And I've had to start clarifying what's the first non-body part that you touch in the morning, because people have, say, their certain aspects, but we'll say, what's the one part of not part of your body that you touch in the morning? Cyber attack, I always say it's headline news, and it will always make waves. And it's not just affecting the American schools like we used to see. It is affecting. These are all British headlines, BBC, Evening Standard. And read some of the headlines. The impact that it's had. Schools have had to shut for weeks on end. They've been entire multi-academy trusts have been taken down for 6 weeks. Because of cyber attack. It is really scary stuff, and why do we need to take it seriously? This is why. So I want to say, cybercrime, why? Who dares attacks us? What about the children? And if it's all about money, then why are they attacking us? Because we ain't got no money, have we? Yeah. But this is it. It's the fact that they're doing it for the money, and most of the time, it's not a case of the fact that they are attacking schools because they want the school's money. Schools are collateral damage. Schools are being attacked because they simply are in the way. And it's because of things like, the schools' networks are not as secure. Schools don't have dedicated security teams. Schools don't have dedicated hardware teams. Schools don't have dedicated software teams. For about 16 years of my career, I was the one-man band who looked after everything with a plug in a school. And you'll find that most IT people in schools are like that. Most schools, most primary schools in the UK, I found by looking at DFE statistics, only when I was arguing with the finance why we needed more staff, most primary schools in the UK don't even have IT staff on their staff base. They have maybe a person who comes in 1 day a week, and all that person is doing is firefighting, projectors, interactive whiteboards, fixing keyboards, that kind of stuff. They haven't got time to even think about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not something you look at the last week of term, or when we go into an SLT meeting, we talk about teaching and learning and Ofsted and finance and safeguarding. And oh yeah, but you've got 5 minutes at the end and everyone's really tired, so make it quick. Yeah, that's not what cybersecurity is. That's not what IT is. Guess what? If your IT goes down, all of that stuff, the teaching and learning, the finance, the safeguarding, the Ofsted, none of that will happen. I always say, why do we do fire drills in schools? I've been working in schools for 19 years. I haven't ever seen a fire. Why do I have to do safeguarding training at the start of every year? I don't deal with children. Well, who cares about the safeguarding? How dare you say those kind of things, right? But the fire drill, guess what? You've written all of those policies on the IT. The safeguarding training happens on the IT. And yet, do we ever train anyone on the IT, right? And how fast is that? How much do we always complain that, IT is moving too fast for us. We can't keep up with it and stuff like that. So why are we only, if we are doing the training, why are we only doing it on the first day back in September? It has to be a evolving thing. It has to be continuous. You have to constantly look at it because it is going at a pace that none of us are comfortable with. I've put in there the nice person in the dark hoodie because it's always people like me who are doing these cyber attacks sat in my mum's basement and stuff like that. No, it's people like Mr. Jackson, wherever he is, and his big corporations. These cyber criminals, they even have HR departments, payroll departments, because it is big, big business, big, big business. So, like Bruce covered in his talk, and we've mentioned a bit before, what are some of the common threats? Ransomware, we've all heard of it now. And I was shouting and screaming about ransomware back in 2016 when my daughter's school, only 5 minutes away from the school that I work at, had a ransomware attack and they lost 6 months of their data because they weren't backing up. It was Asif, you told us that, isn't it? Elmhurst, I think it was. They lost 6 months of their data because they had a ransomware attack back in 2016, right? When the WannaCry attack happened in 2017, that was the best thing that could have happened for someone like me who kept shouting about ransomware because it was on the news at 10. The NHS, who's not heard of the NHS? We love the NHS, don't we? NHS was taken down by ransomware, by WannaCry, estimated to have cost them £92 million to recover from and forced the cancellation of 19,000, was it 19,000? Yeah, 19,000 appointments. Some of those appointments still haven't been rescheduled. Some of those trusts have still not recovered from those ransomware attacks. Phishing, deliberately with a PH, not it spelt correctly for the teachers in the room. Probably one of the most popular ones that I would say happens in schools and organizations where you get emails that have been sent to someone who pretending to be from someone asking you to click on a link or something like that. We had a very real attack in one of my schools where the office manager got sent an email that masqueraded as the head teacher to say, can you please bank transfer £180 into this account for this particular thing that I did. The only reason why she didn't end up doing it is because she had to phone the head teacher to say, which budget is it coming out of? And it's only then the head teacher said, I didn't ask you for anything. Always, always, always double check. And we all lead extremely stressful lives. We haven't got the time to be on guard 100% of the time, and mistakes will happen. But it's really, really important we stay as vigilant as possible. What's the easiest way to get hacked? Social engineering. We are humans. We are naturally inclined and want to help. When we're opening the door and someone's coming in behind us, What do? You leave the door open for them. You've just potentially let in a hacker. And that's exactly what happened with Uber. Uber, who hasn't heard of Uber? You don't think that they had a massive, great IT team looking after the cybersecurity and stuff like that? An 18-year-old kid in the USA in October managed to find a username and password of a particular member of staff and tried to log in to their account. They couldn't log in because Uber had two-factor authentication. So he kept trying to log in and the person kept getting a notification, but they didn't say anything. He managed to get that employee's phone number and then sent them a WhatsApp to say, hi, I'm from the Uber IT department. I found an issue with your account and I would like to, I'd like to log in to fix it. Can you please give me the 6-digit code? They gave him the code. He logged in, he managed to snoop around the system and he found a piece of script that had the admin username password. He was then able to log in as the admin and he had access to the entire organization as the administrator. He could have brought the organization down if he was being malicious. He was just messing about. That's an organization like Uber. Think of the money behind their cybersecurity. 3 days later, there were 6 cybersecurity vacancies on LinkedIn for Uber. What I always say is think of your cybersecurity before you have the attack. It's too late once you've had the attack. That's the difference between that and the fire drill. You can recover from you practice for the fire drill and that kind of stuff. And there's ways to recover from that. Once you've had a cyber attack, it's a bit too late. Always, always, always think of the cybersecurity. So what do we need to do as individuals to keep ourselves safe? What do we need to think about and what are the potential threats? So we looked at phishing and I've got some examples on phishing. And I've said things like, look out for the poorly written emails, look out for common substitutions. So that E130LX, that was the postcode of one of my primaries. But you see, that one there is not the E130LX, it's that one. But that's made to look like E130LX. It's actually E capital I3 O 1 and then the X. Look out for these things. Look out for a link. Before you click a link, always hover over the link with your mouse. You'll see in the bottom left-hand corner or somewhere a pop-up that comes up to say where it's going to. Look out for things. If you're thinking you're going to Google, it's Google, not G00G13.com or something. Those are the kind of things you need to look out for, whether it's taking you to the right place. Look at the warnings in the emails. If you're using Gmail, I think Outlook does something similar now. The red banner at the top. The amount of times I've seen people just click away the banner, Those banners are there to tell you something, right? If they're in your way, they're not just being annoying. They're there. Read them. Read the messages that it's giving. Read the warnings that it's giving you on the screen. Be risk averse. If you're not sure about something, like that member of staff did, pick up the phone, ask the person. If it's really, really urgent, they'll chase you up. If it's really, really urgent, they'll knock on your door. Always, always, always have that vigilance. It's really easy to say, absolutely. I said, you're all really stressed. We've got tons and tons of stuff to do. But it's really important because it's that one click that can just change everything. But at the same time, don't be embarrassed. Mistakes happen. We all make mistakes. I've made mistakes, and it's not absolutely impossible to recover from them. If something does happen, make sure you report it immediately to whoever it is, your IT teams, senior management, whoever you need to report it to. I put a couple of examples there. Because of time, I won't go, but these are real life examples that I've received of emails, discount, $90 discount code from Currys, of course, but except newsflash, we're in the UK, by the way, we don't do dollars. But these are the kind of things that you can look into. If you go onto the website, you'll be able to see these, but just a few examples of what you sort of need to look for. Passwords. I saw a really funny sketch by Michael McIntyre the other day to say, when the internet started and we all had to sign up for our user accounts, we all chose our password, which became our special password, our magic word. Mine is train. And so we all did our first password as train. And then as the internet started to get more and more popular, they said, the companies turned around and said, you must now mix it up. You have to use capital letters and lowercase. So we all collectively said, that's it, what we're going to do, we're going to capitalize the first letter of our magic word. And then as it grew further on, they said, you must now put a number as well as have your uppercase and lowercase. And so we all thought, what are we going to do with our magic word? You know, it's already hard to just shift and T and then the rest of it. So we'll find a number. And so we all collectively decided that we will choose the number 1. And we will all put that number 1 at the end of our magic word. And then we went into a new world of special characters. And we had all of these special characters now to choose from. And we all glanced at all of those special characters and we stopped at the exclamation mark, which we then put at the end of our special word with the capital T and the lowercase, the rest of it, and the number 1. How many people suddenly feel really uncomfortable that their password follows that exact same connotation? It's the argument I'm always having, you know, do not use the same password on every site. Hands up, how many of you have a unique password for every single site you visit? You are good people. You are 100% good people. You're also liars. Because that's more hands that have ever gone up. You're special. Use password managers. If you use an iPhone, you've got iCloud keychain built in. If you're using Android, you've got the Google keychain. If you want to have a much better one, there's options like 1Password. Use password managers to create randomly generated passwords that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, because it is so important. You know, this can have a real heavy life impact if you don't know, if your accounts are getting hacked. You know, if you lose access to your personal email, you've suddenly potentially lost access to every single site, because then that person could then use your email account to reset all of those other passwords. Really important. And wherever you can, use two-factor authentication. We could probably have a whole other debate about two-factor authentication and its challenges in schools. We need to start thinking about getting over the challenges and absolutely thinking two-factor authentication. Devices, you know, you'll always see headlines in the Daily Mail to say the new iOS 16 update has suddenly made everyone's iPhone really dull and old and slow. Yeah, it's the Daily Mail for a reason, right? Don't listen to it. Absolutely, whenever there's an update, update your devices, update your PCs, update your Mac, update everything. Updates aren't always full of new features. Updates are usually probably more full of security updates and security patches. Definitely update your devices. Minimize the data on your device. Use cloud services. There's no reason absolutely nowadays to use USB flash drives for documents and data. Use Google Drive, use OneDrive. They are so much more secure than your USB flash drive. They have so much more space as well. And, you know, things like checking for viruses and malware. All of our computers are, you know, if you're on LGfL school, they're all protected by Sophos antivirus, but make sure that your antivirus and malware software are up to date. So a quick review there of, you know, what we need to do, you know, checking that all of your things, checking for your privacy settings, some things that I haven't gone into, on your social media. You know, it was in the Keeping Children Safe in Education guidelines for this year, where the DfE have said that employers must now do a Google search and search for people when you're employing them. You know, they haven't given any guidance on how to do that, but we still need to consider things. Be vigilant of what you're doing, what you're putting, how you're portraying yourself online, but also checking all of the personal safeguards that you have, your passwords, your devices, ensuring that you're not clicking on the wrong links, ensuring that you're keeping as safe as possible online. So what do we need to do as schools and trusts, as an organization, to think about cybersecurity, and how do we make this more poignant for the whole organization? Because I've already said the biggest problem is always going to be the human beings. We can spend billions on cybersecurity. Uber did, but it was the human aspect that got them hacked. So what do we need to do and think of as an organization? Cybersecurity is an operational risk. I say, if you have a fire then your school will burn down. You won't have a school to go into. Think of a cyber attack as a fire without the school burning down. You'll have a building to go into, but you won't be able to do anything in that building. Think of the impact that it's going to have on you. Think of the operational aspect. What's going to stop? What are you not going to be able to do? What do you rely on the IT? We already know when we go home tonight, we're maybe going to use our phone to order our food. We're going to do online shopping. We're going to probably watch a bit of Netflix. Almost everything we do nowadays is based on the IT. It relies on the IT. Almost everything we do in schools nowadays relies on the IT. Do we have even a spreadsheet that says this system relies on this system relies on that, this system we use for this? You know, we keep talking about a paperless world, and absolutely we need to become more and more of a paperless world. But then have we just moved everything online without thinking of the impact that it could potentially have? You know, what was it that Mark said at what the RPA are looking for? You need to have the incident management plan, the policies and all of that in place. Make sure you're having that in place. And cybersecurity is an imminent risk. Put it on your risk register and regularly review how you're addressing this risk. What is the risk? What is the risk current status at? And what are the potential threats that are out there? Change management, that wonderful phrase again. You know, we all know that change is extremely, extremely hard, especially in schools. One of the things that I always hear is we would love to do these changes, but Ofsted could come tomorrow. And that phone call could be tomorrow, it could be in 2 years, it could be in 5 years, it could be in 10 years, whatever. How long are you going to wait for that phone call before you make the change? At some point you have to understand that, you know, that phone call might never come, but the cyber attack could happen. So we need to think of the change that we do in schools. We need to think of the old systems that we are using in schools, whether those systems are still fit for purpose for today. Not fit for purpose for how we do our work, but are they fit for purpose for the modern day? I always say, as much as possible, have a cloud-first approach. The cloud always tends to be safer. When we first went cloud in 2016, everyone kept saying to me, is our data safe in the cloud? Newsflash, our data used to be in the server room, which was basically the cloakroom. No server cabinet, no air conditioning. Everyone used to go in and out, that kind of stuff. I said, we went Google Workspace at the time. Their data centers are secured by 160 armed guards. You know, I'd like to have that in school at some point. Maybe not American schools and all that, but you know, it is so much more secure. And what do we say? The most important thing about anything, when you back up, what do you back up? You don't back up the entire computer and the programs and stuff. You back up your data, because data is what matters to us. It's what's our documents is what's most important to us. And don't be put off with that change. You know, we have to move. We keep saying this phrase, preparing our children for lives in the 21st century. We're 23 years in now. By the time they get to work, we're going to be half the century in. At what point are we starting to prepare them? We need to prepare ourselves. And we can't wait for that long. Just wanted to quickly highlight the DFE security and standards, cybersecurity standards and, for schools that the DFE put together. These are some great guidelines that they've put together. You can take a look. I'll put a link, but I've just summarized a few points there. If you are an LGfL school, quite a lot of these things are already in place for you, but it's always good to realize and remember what it is that you actually need. I put there a summary, but if you scan that QR code or you go to that link, you'll be able to see the entire guidance as it is written. And it's a good guideline to start from. What you need in schools, what kind of tech you need, what kind of cybersecurity principles do you need, what do you need to consider when you're refreshing devices, that kind of stuff. It's a really good standpoint. The funding, we all know, isn't there. That's a big argument we're having with the DFE at the moment. Hopefully that at some point that'll be something that is available to schools soon, but it's a starting point at least. So what does the future look like? You know, the future, I say, and scan that QR code if you want the example for the cybersecurities training. They've got a really good presentation set as well that you can deliver to your staff. There's a 30-minute YouTube video that they can watch with some of these basic principles. But the future in our schools, you know, training your staff, absolutely, absolutely inherent. Never stop training your staff on IT. If you don't have that specialism in your schools, get someone in. Get someone in, because it is really, really important when we talk about these things. Have your cybersecurity incident management plan. Know what to do. Put that plan in action. Understand what will happen if we have an attack. A good way to simulate attack, if you're brave enough, pull out the internet cable and watch the mayhem that happens. Yeah, it's a scary way, but it's a really good start point to understand. Minimize your data by design. How many folders have I seen on shared areas that children in need photos, November 2017? Yeah? Do those children even exist in our school anymore? Right? And all those photos were taken and we took about 100 of those photos and we used 2 in the newsletter. And now those photos stay. You know, GDPR, consider that. You know, we're still keeping those pupils' identities. Understand the data that we have in schools. Understand that how long do we need to keep this data for? Does it need to be there? Spring cleaning. None of us have got time to do it, absolutely. We all hate doing it, but we absolutely need to do it. Clean up this data that you have, because the less data you have, the less you have to lose. And so think about the things. If you haven't clicked on it for 6 months, do you really need it? Do you need to keep going back onto it? I'm not saying delete everything, absolutely not. But do remember to clean up as much as possible. Only keep what you absolutely need. Don't become complacent. Keep challenging yourself. Keep asking those questions. Keep asking the tough questions. You know, keep repeating them. What are we doing to keep ourselves secure? Are we in a good place? Is things, you know, what is our threat appetite? Do we know that what's going to happen tomorrow? Do we know if something does happen tomorrow, what position are we in? Even if we're in a bad position, how bad of a position is that? And, you know, always think contingency, always think what will happen, and don't forget your personal safeguards. That's one thing I will say. Remember, just do everything you can to keep yourself safe. Passwords, updating your devices, and just remembering to always be vigilant. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.